soy tú, yeah. No hay nadie como tú. Es que no hay nadie como tú. No hay nadie como tú. Es que no hay nadie como tú.
Hello, hello. This is Steve from On the Vertigo, and you are joining On the VertiSHOW. Thank you for joining us today for this broadcast. As you know, I'm Steve with On the Vertigo. If you don't know my story, you can find out more about me online, onthevertigo.org. But I'd like to introduce as my co-host today, this lady will come to your house and she will dig through your trash one day, and the next day she'll bake you the best banana bread you've ever had in your life. So introducing my co-host, the one, the only, Adrian Smith from South Carolina. Say hi, Adrian.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Of course, you look beautiful as always.
Oh, thank you.
Her sign in the background is representing Meniere's Worldwide, but there's a reason that it's decorated, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'd also like to introduce our producer and director, Dizzy, DJ D, in the house.
Yeah. What's up, everybody?
Dave, tell everybody how they can find us on social media really quick.
You can find us on YouTube as a video show, and you can find us on Podbean, searchable, as an audio podcast, and on iHeart Radio. And so Podbean, iHeart Radio, Facebook, Meniere's On the Vertigo page, and YouTube, the On the Vertigo channel.
And Instagram at On the Vertigo.
Correct.
So this is a first for our show, you guys, and I am super, super pumped because we are having our first special guest. And this is someone who has made a huge impact on me. And I got kind of a man crush on this guy. So we got a little bromance going. From Calgary, Canada, originally, I think from Colombia, is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. From Colombia, lives in Calgary, Canada now. I need to introduce to you the founder of Find Your CHAPPINESS, and he'll tell you how to find that later. But this is my really good friend, Johan, the CHAPPINESS guy, and we call him Chappy. So I'd love to welcome Chappy to the show today. Give it up.
Hey, what's up?
Viva!
What's happening, guys?
How are you, Chappy?
All good, all good.
Okay, so we've never had a guest on, so this is going to be interesting with four of us. So we will be focused on you today, Chappy, so you just follow along, and we all have some games for you and some questions, and it's going to be a riot, maybe literally.
I know your original guest was supposed to be Thor, but he's saving the universe, so here I am.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So Chappy, why don't you give us a little rundown on your vestibular disorder, when you were diagnosed, how you found out you had it, and just get, this is the same stuff we do. You got to describe who you are and what's wrong with you. So go ahead and give us a rundown on your vestibular disorder and your diagnosis, and give us a little background on you and yourself and what you do.
All right, team. So as Steve mentioned, I'm the creator of Find Your CHAPPINESS. I'm 36-year-old, a husband. I'm the father of a beautiful son. He's turning 16 this year in September. And I am the proud owner of 4 little but beautiful dogs. Well, I call them little, but they are 95 pounds. So so that's a little bit about me. In 2018, I thought I was living on top of the world. I was living the best life ever. I was traveling. I just bought a house. I was making plans to get married. I was living a fantastic life. And one night, out of the ordinary, it was a regular night like every other night. I went to bed. This was April 18, 2018.
Well, you know the exact date. You know the exact date.
Oh yeah, you will never forget that. And I'm sure Steve also remembers the day that he first experienced his symptoms. But I went to bed. I was watching a movie with my wife. We were eating ice cream, and I went to bed. I fell asleep, and then I got up around 3 in the morning, and the whole world was spinning, like everything was spinning really fast. So for a minute there, I was confused. I'm like, what's going on? So I tried to sit up, but I couldn't. I felt like the bed was just going in circles. So I woke my wife up and I'm like, wake up. I think I'm having a stroke. Like I think I gotta go to the hospital right away. Long story short, she takes me to the hospital. We go through emergency. The doctors run a bunch of tests. And one of the doctors from the emergency room says, you are having a vertigo attack, and it's a migraine-induced vertigo attack. And I'm like, but I don't have a headache. Like I don't have a migraine. And he's like, no, it's a misconception that migraines are headaches. Headaches are a symptom of a migraine, but migraine is not a headache. So you're having vertigo induced by migraine. Well, guys, it's been since we're now in 2022, so it's been almost 4 years since I've been living with this condition, and yeah, it's something that changes your life. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. I've been able to manage the symptoms. I've been able to do a lot of things. I've been able to inspire a lot of people, meet a lot of amazing friends like you guys, and my story is ongoing. I'm hoping to continue improving.
Well, thanks for sharing that. What year was that? 2000?
I made an error at the beginning. I said 2018. Sorry, that was 2019. April 18, 2019.
Okay, what's your official diagnosis? Is it vestibular migraine, BPPV, Meniere's? What are you lucky enough to have?
By a neurologist, I was diagnosed with vestibular migraines and triple PD. So for the people that are not familiar with the word triple PD, it's basically constant dizziness. You live in a state of dizziness 24/7 hours of your day. And that can be triggered by vestibular migraines, by Meniere's disease. It could be triggered by BPPV, which are the little crystals in your ear that come dislodged. It could be triggered by stress, by hormones. Many things could trigger triple PD.
Yes, I agree. And Adrian has been diagnosed with Meniere's disease and VM, also vestibular migraine. And she has a shitload of other issues that we won't go into right now because it would take over an hour for her to describe all the things wrong with her, but she's still up and moving. And one of the things I respect about you, Chappie, is that you've taken it upon yourself to start a YouTube channel and you interview guests, and it's called Find Your CHAPPINESS, and you can find it on YouTube. And I've been a guest on your show twice, I think. I've been a guest.
Yes, a couple of times.
It's twice.
And
Yes,
you were the very first show I did when for the public, and I was super nervous that day, but you made it so comfortable. So thank you for joining us and being our very first guest, because when we decided to have a guest, all three of us, it was unanimous. Wasn't even a call. Well, Thor was number one, but you were a close two. All right, well, let's get this show started. We're going to ask you some questions here. I got a little bit of trivia for you.
Sure.
Can I go for a minute?
Hit it, Adrian.
Hit it. Estoy emocionada. Gracias por estar aquí.
Muy bien. Hablas español, muy bien.
Ya, un poquito. Mucho gusto. Me llama en español Adriana.
Adriana, sí.
Admin for Meniere's Worldwide Chappie Fan Club.
There you go.
Hey, I can count to 10 in Spanish. Is that cool?
Oh, there you go.
You know, I mean, all of us watched Sesame Street growing up, so yeah.
Steve can only say dos cervezas. That's it.
That's all you need to know.
Cerveza. Steve, I
Dos
have a fan
cervezas.
of yours here as well. And here she comes.
Oh
Here
my.
she comes.
Oh, my.
Barbie.
Oh, you like the Daisy Dukes? So there she is, and she can twerk.
Ooh.
So I made her just for you, Steve.
Oh, you gotta hang on to her for me. I love
Okay,
that.
she's gonna go over here now
Okay.
Is this a family show? As I'm not sure.
to start the game. There
Oh.
we
Oh, there you go.
are.
Representing.
So we'd like to thank
Yes.
you. We wanted to thank you for sponsoring a hole at our golf tournament last
Of
spring.
course.
And
Definitely.
we had, that was your sign that was on the hole. So that, I don't know what hole it was. It wasn't Adrian's hole. It was, anyway, so you're originally from Colombia, correct?
I am, yes, sir.
Okay, and you're fluent in Spanish, correct?
See?
So first question, how often do you get to hang out with Shakira?
Man.
Oh,
That I would love to, but I don't think my wife will be too happy. So
Oh.
so that's a forbidden friendship.
I just didn't know if you knew her or not. You're both from Colombia, and I love
Ah.
Shakira. So
Actually, fun fact, I don't know if you guys knew, I used to be a musician. I have music videos and everything. Like I used to be a
yes,
musician in the past. Yes.
that's something that that's probably buried way back in my messages, Chappie. But you need to email or text Dave and Adrian those videos, because you guys will freak out. It's like professional boy band shit. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's
The
really
Colombian
good.
Backstreet Boys. Yes.
That's right, the Colombian Backstreet Boys. So
I
later
just want
on,
to see the pictures of you hanging out with Shakira backstage, Chappie. That's all I'm concerned
Well,
about.
he
Like,
covered
where are
that.
those? Bring those videos out.
he covered that. So one thing I wanted to tell you, Chappie, is you have the right to remain silent if you want, because everything you say will be held against you in a court of law. So let's move on with more questions.
I plead the fifth.
Okay, my favorite team, what happened this week? The Colorado Avalanche took home the Stanley Cup. So
Oh.
what is this a surprise to you? You live in Canada. I'm sure you're pissed because you're Canadian and it's your sport and we won. So
You know what? I'm not surprised. The States usually has elite athletes for most sports, whether it is by nature or because you guys are cheaters and take it away from us. But
well, I'm going to go with cheaters.
no, congratulations. I'm very, very happy for you guys. Very proud of you. Even though hockey is a big sport here in Canada, I'm more of a fan of lacrosse. I go with my wife and my son to all the lacrosse games, and I actually wear this helmet to the lacrosse games.
I've seen your
course.
pictures, and my son played lacrosse in high school. He was a goalie. So
Nice.
we are way into lacrosse also. But I'm going to go back to hockey just to mess with you.
Sure.
What was the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup?
Ooh, that's gonna probably be between the
I'm gonna
Canucks.
say only one team can actually win it, so it's not between two teams. Pick one.
No, I know, but the two elite
I have a
teams-
guess. I have a guess
What-
in
what
this
is
too.
it?
Chappie goes first. What's your
Yeah,
guess,
he can
Chappie?
go first, but I think I got it.
I'm gonna say the Canucks.
That's what I thought. But you're wrong.
I'm going to say Toronto Maple Leafs.
And incorrect. Also, Adrian knows shit about sports, so I'm
The
not even bringing
Flames?
her in on this.
Oh,
No, 1993, the Canadians won. That was the last one.
Oh,
The Canadians won in 1993.
wow.
Next question. When's the last time that your Calgary Flames won the cup?
Oof, yeah, that's a tough one because I don't follow them, but I'm gonna say
Oh.
somewhere in the early 2000s.
1988, 89.
Oh wow, dang, yeah. The Calgary Flames are not, yeah.
That was back when Motley Crue was popular, so you know that was old.
Ooh.
Okay, that was your hockey. I got you know that Dave and I and Adrian even we're movie buffs, right? You've seen us do movie spoofs and stuff like that. We like movies.
I've
And
seen you guys do some old school movies, like especially Back to the Future. Yes.
Yep. So
Nice.
in that vein, I'm going to give you a 80s movie trivia question. And I'm not sure how well you're going to do at this. Dave might do okay. Adrian might do okay, but Chappie gets first shot. Kenny Loggins. Okay, we're all familiar with Kenny Loggins. He does the title track to Top Gun, which is one of my all-time favorites, and they reused it in Maverick, and they started the movie again with Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone. But in the 80s, he made his living by having other title tracks to movies. So I'm looking for 3 other movies from the 80s where Kenny Loggins had the title track song.
Oh my God.
If you don't know, just say you don't know.
I pass.
Okay, Adrian wants to go second. Go ahead, Adrian. What do you got?
I knew he did a series of movies, The Gambler.
Nope. That I don't care about that. I'm looking for 3 specific I'm
Wrong.
looking for popular movies that people.
That's right.
All right. You got anything else, Adrian?
No.
Come
Okay.
on. I'm kind of disappointed, Adrian. Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
Footloose.
Footloose. He wrote
Footloose.
that song.
Uh,
One more. It's a little tougher to get, but there's one more I'm looking for.
I'm gonna say The Great Outdoors.
I love John Candy and Dan Aykroyd and The Great Outdoors. Anyway, no. Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, no way.
So there's our movie trivia, and you guys all failed. But that's okay.
Yeah,
I got
I
two. I got two. I'm happy with that.
I blame
Okay.
technical difficulties.
All right, you have a 16-year-old son, Chappie.
He's turning 16, yes, sir.
So you're familiar with Harry Potter, correct?
Yeah, oh, don't even ask me, but yes.
What was
I
Harry
know
Potter?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah. What
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Harry Potter's owl's name? He has a pet owl.
Ooh,
What's his name? I know you've watched it with your son.
hard in the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember the exact name. But I know I've seen it in the movie. I just can't remember it.
Hedwig.
Hey, oh, okay.
Now it comes back. So I wanted you to do something really quick for me, Chappie, and just say my name 3 times in a row, because everybody that knows you and has watched me on your show, they love the way you say my name.
Steve?
Steve.
Steve.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Your accent kills me. That's what started the bromance right there, baby. That's what started the bromance. It comes to me in the shower sometimes. I'll be lathering up and I just hear, Steve. And I'm just like, oh, I love to hear it.
It's Stephen.
That's
So how do
too
you-
much information,
how
though.
do you
Too much
think-
information.
I think he needs a cold shower.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Speaking of cold showers, actually, I do take cold. Fun fact: I do take cold showers daily, even when we have -40 temperature outside, because it helps regulate your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So cold showers actually are a good thing.
That's good advice. I'm still not going to do it because I hate showers, period. But
It's great. I'm just not gonna do it, but great. Yeah.
I might need one after seeing my new Barbie doll that Adrian set up for me, my Daisy Duke Barbie doll. I might need a cold shower after that.
Yeah, she's pretty.
Yeah. Okay. If I needed a kidney, would you give one to me?
Serious question, serious answer. Well,
No.
are we assuming that I'm compatible with your blood type and with everything else?
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, obviously, well, you're a great friend. You're a good guy, and I love you. And so, of course, I'm gonna say, hell no. There's no way.
He told you he
I'm gonna
thinks
be
about you
both
in the
of them.
shower. Doesn't
Are
that
you out
count
of
for
your mind?
anything?
Keeping your kidneys. Keeping your
Anything else
kidneys.
but a kidney? Hell no.
Well,
Perfecto.
I know you
That
don't
was-
want my liver if that's what you need. So we'll move on from there.
Nobody wants that liver.
No.
Okay, we're going to turn to some serious topics for a little bit, and we'll have some more games later. But we talked last week, Chappie, and you brought up a topic you wanted to talk about, and I think it's very important. And I know this has been on your mind for months, because I've heard you mention this before this past week. So this is something that you think about often, and I think you have a lot of great things to say. But before we do that, to get to the serious stuff, we're going to go to the vestibular orders and talk about our vestibular orders and how it affects us. First of all, what's your favorite thing about having a vestibular disorder?
Gave me a different perspective in life. It gives you a new input on how you used to see yourself and how you think life should have been. And it centers you in a way, even though we're completely out of whack and balance, it centers you in a new path that is much better for us.
Awesome. So it's a self-exploration type of thing, huh?
It truly is.
Okay, the thing you wanted to talk about, which I find super interesting because
Hold up.
I'm holding up.
Stop. Steve.
Let it roll. Just let it go natural.
Let it
Let them
go.
roll on the tongue. I just got, like I have this little special guest that keeps like nipping at me right now.
Ah, let's see your dog.
Bring him.
Appearance. So
Oh.
there he is.
Nice.
It's Sir Duke. Hey, Sir Duke, there you are. You're part of the show now.
Sir Duke. That's
Okay,
awesome.
keep going.
Thanks for the introduction to your dog.
Yeah.
Mine's over there cowering in the corner because I just took it to get a rabies shot, and they put a thermometer up his butt, and he's hating me ever since. So he's
Mm.
looking at me like, if we do that again, I didn't.
I
do it,
know.
but if
I
he
know how
told me
that
that-
feels. I had to take my dad for an exam. They did the same to him. So he's
Yeah,
not talking to me right now.
that's no fun. Okay, you wanted to talk about medication stigma and
Yes.
also realistic expectations. So
Uh-huh.
I'm just gonna hand you the ball and let you go because I think that you've been thinking about this a lot. So tell us a little bit about what's been on your mind.
Well, most of us, including me at one point in my life, sometimes we see medication when we have to take medication as if we're failing our body.
A weakness.
Often we think, hey, you know what? Like God created us perfect, so we should be able to heal with our own means.
Mhm.
So often, so at the beginning, I was very hesitant towards medication because there was a lot of misinformation out there that people are like, no, you have these horrible side effects. The medication is going to make you addictive. You will never be able to come off the medication. So I was very afraid at the beginning of taking medication. My specific condition, since it's triggered by migraines and by outside factors like weather changes, stress, certain foods, you can control it with the aid of medication. When I finally made that leap of faith of taking medication, a lot of people were like, oh, you're doing that, you're gonna fail, you're gonna have all these side effects. So I still prayed to God and said, hey God, if this is the right path, just please guide me on it. I've been on medication for 2.5 years and it's changed my life drastically for the better. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know if the medication will still help, but as of right now, it helps me. But I know that there is a big stigma about it out there in the world. The reason why I say this is because I get approached by a lot of people online that see my show or that see my Instagram pages, and they come to me and they're like, hey, we see you, like you're driving cars, you're flying, you're doing these skydiving things. Like, don't you have a vestibular condition? I'm like, I do. But thankfully, to the glory of God and also the help of supplements, a diet, exercises, and medication, I am able to live a somewhat normal life. As soon as I say the word medication, these people, 9 out of 10 are like, oh no, I'm done. I don't want it. Bye. I don't need your advice. And I'm like, but if you want to be as quote unquote healthy as I am right now, the medication is a way to help you. But people shut down. They're like, no medication for me. I don't want it. Don't even say that word. I don't want to talk to you anymore. So I was wondering, like, how do you guys feel about this topic? Like, especially Adriana and Steve that have conditions that not necessarily are treated by medication, but how will you feel if a doctor comes up and tells you, hey, there is this medication that may improve your quality of life and reduce the symptoms? What do you think?
Go ahead, Adrian.
I love my medication. I couldn't function without it, especially with the vestibular migraine and constant BPPV. It can last for days. It can last for weeks. But I don't know what your medications are. Effexor and the new Nurtec OTD, magnesium, vitamin D, B12, yes. B3.
B2.
If I did not take all of these, which I hate every day, everybody's got their little pill vial, I could not function, period.
Agreed.
Period.
It's the only reason we're all three sitting upright right now is probably because of our medications.
Yeah, and I don't know how Dave feels being like, since Dave is no suffering from a chronic illness, but do you feel, Dave, that when people hear the word medication, especially medications like Effexor or nortriptyline, that is one that I take, that are quote unquote antidepressants, people often feel like, oh, I'm not depressed, I don't need that. What do you think, Dave, is the reason why people are so defensive about this word medication?
That is a good question. I don't know. I know for me, it's like I'm even hesitant to take aspirin at all. I think I actually never really took aspirin at all, even for a headache for many years. And then I you know, I don't know, I got a bad cold once or something, and I took some cold medicine and I was able to sleep all night. And I was like, oh my God, that was awesome. But I'm more prone to just kind of suffering it out. And I think one thing that people think, or at least, you know, it's dumb and unfounded, but it's definitely like in the back of my mind. It's like, I don't want, like, you, I mean, I suppose it's kind of like you don't want side effects, but it's also like, I don't want anything that might like alter my body in a negative way, because, you know, a lot of medications obviously do have different effects than just what it's supposed to do for you. And that's part of medical science, trying to figure it out. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, I just love my medication because I wouldn't be able to be upright without it. And the thing I tell people when they're like, well, why do you take diazepam, which is Valium? That's an opiate, why do you need trimetrin, which is a water pill? It's a diuretic. I take those every day. I also take supplements. I take vitamin D3. I take turmeric pills. I take a little garlic pill. I take like all these little things that are supposed to help me. But, I realize that there are downsides because it is probably hard on my liver. And as much as I punish my liver to begin with, throwing, especially trimetrin and Valium on top of my liver every day is probably not the healthiest thing. But what I tell people is, come to me after 2 years when you can't get out of bed and you have 3 or 4 major 12-hour vertigo attacks a week for 2 years, and tell me you wouldn't cut your right leg off if it would help you feel better. And so you get to a point out of desperation where I got to a point where I'm like, I don't care, doc. I'll try whatever you throw at me. I'll eat dog poop if you tell me it's going to help me not be dizzy. Just tell me what to do. And you get desperate, and then you go on a route, you go down this road of figuring out what works and what doesn't. So did it take both you guys a little while to figure out what worked and what didn't? Because I was on 3 or 4 meds that just made me worse, and I had to keep going back. So it was a game of hit and miss, trial and error for a couple of years till I found out what doses I needed, how often I take it, and stuff like that. But once I dialed that in, I wouldn't change that for the world.
No,
So,
agree.
Did you guys have to battle through the trial and error also?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, absolutely. It was nortriptyline, amitriptyline, and then finally Effexor for me, along with the supplements. And not even a month ago is when he added the new Nurtec OTD that's been out.
Is that about
that one I've seen a lot of TV commercials about that one. Like that seems to be like really promising. So
along with the Effexor, no replacement, just added to it.
Yeah.
So far so good.
It looks like a box of condoms to me. I couldn't
That's why she's loving it.
I'm too old for that. But while I am speaking, this is a photo of Steve taking care of his liver.
Yeah, he's healthy. He's drinking tomato juice. He's healthy.
That's all.
For the listeners on the podcast, we have to describe that is Steve with a gigantic Bloody Mary in front of him at a restaurant in Vail last week.
He's drinking tomato juice.
With a blue moon beer shooter on the side.
There's definitely no alcohol in that.
Not at all. Not at all. Okay, realistic expectations, Chappie. Speak on that for a minute. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Sure, but that needs an introduction song, so no better than this one.
Not hearing it.
You need an introduction song from us?
The Mission Impossible song.
Oh, you got to get it closer to your mic.
Bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, bum.
That's the one. All right, so realistic expectations. All right, well, most of us wish at some point that we could go back to our lives prior to these conditions appearing into our lives. Most of us want to work, want to have a happy family life, want to travel, want to be functional. Most of us sometimes dream of living a normal life. but we need to have realistic expectations that, first of all, even if we might have similar conditions, like Adriana and I have vestibular migraines, and she shares many years disease with Steve, that doesn't mean that because we share similar conditions, the intensity of the symptoms is the same. Maybe Steve's vertigo attacks are way stronger than Adriana's, and Adriana's vestibular migraine symptoms or triple PD is heavier or more intense than mine. So people need to have realistic expectations that whatever you have, you need to live it day by day and be patient with it. People often tell me, well, how long until I feel better? And I said, I don't know. It really depends on your specific body, on whatever aids you're doing, like supplements with like magnesium, CoQ10, vitamin D. If you're on medication, what kind of medication? And also the environment around you. I live by the mountains. So that's Steve. So the weather changes quickly. It could be sunny and plus 25 degrees right now, and then suddenly it goes to raining and +3. So that alters the changes in barometric pressure, alters our systems. So it really depends on where people live and what they are expecting to accomplish. Often we put these unrealistic expectations on ourselves because we feel like, hey, I should be able to work an 8-hour job. I should be able to be out there with my family playing soccer or playing volleyball. I should be able to partake into all these activities. But don't feel guilty if you can't. It's not that we can because we don't want to. We can because we gotta allow our body and our mind to heal and take the specific time and process that needs to go through in order for us to start participating. For 1.5 years out of the last 3 years, I was in my bedroom, on the floor, crying every day, contemplating that I didn't want to live anymore. Now I live my life to the fullest. I travel, I do all these activities, I go hiking, I do rock climbing, I do all these other things. So I tell people, you will eventually get there, but don't compare yourself to me. Give yourself your time because this is your journey. This is not the Chappy journey. This is not on the Vertigo journey. This is not the Meniere's Worldwide journey. This is your own individual journey. And yes, we are out there as quote unquote role models to show you hope, but we're not there to tell you this is the guideline and you will be like this 100%. So that's what I wanted to tell you guys about realistic expectations.
Yeah, last week on the show, I think it was last week, we actually talked about that we're not healthier. I still live a symptomatic day every day, but I've learned to manage it to, what was the word we were talking about? You know, you learn to live above your symptoms. You know, I'm still dizzy. I'm dizzy right now. I woke up this morning and couldn't get out of bed for 20 minutes because I just couldn't stand up yet. You know, I still go through that. My symptoms still get me one way or another every day. But lowering my expectations some and realizing, okay, if it takes me 20 minutes to get out of bed, then that's going to take me 20 minutes to get out of bed. That's my expectation. I'm just going to do what I can do. Now, the thing that I wanted to ask Adrian and you about with that is so for me, the longest time, and it still does, that plagues me with guilt. As far as my family goes, I can't work, you know, I can't go do a job, and my friends see me laying around all the time doing nothing but managing my symptoms. And so, you know, I still fight guilt. I think that's probably my biggest battle, and it has been for a while, and it might always be, I don't know, but you know, lowering your expectations and living the way you can, do you guys still deal with guilt?
I'll let Adriana go first.
Oh, sometimes I have to say, in all respects, I'm fortunate to have a husband with a great job who did allow me to retire early when all this started almost 8 years ago. And it took a couple of years to find things to make it work. During that time, I felt very guilty. And when I do have a VM attack or my BPV is off the chain, I normally keep my granddaughter every weekend, and she counts on coming over. And there'd be times where I would call my son or my daughter-in-law and have to say, I just can't. And she'd be on the phone, but Gigi, you know, I want to spend the night. And it's like, well, Gigi's sick. You know, and she I try to tell her what a vestibular disorder is, and she'll say, my Gigi has a vestibular disorder. So she doesn't really know, but managing my symptoms has gotten a lot easier the past few years. If I have a stressful situation, or like Steve and I had talked before, we all have a regiment. When that regiment gets thrown off and something gets thrown into that schedule, which you don't count on,
Ooh.
I'll be popping those
Yep,
out
yep.
like, okay, give me a minute. I've got to get my shit straight. So yes and no on the guilt. Yes,
Okay.
before, not so much now. Manageable.
Yeah. Is the show PG-13, or can I say
Nope,
say
Let it
something?
fly.
Nope,
Let it
just
fly,
let it
Chappie.
fly.
All illnesses, all sicknesses suck, but vestibular conditions are a mother effort. Like there is no way around it. Like a vestibular condition really sucks all the way.
Yeah.
I still feel guilty as well, like Stephen and Adrian said, but I think a lot of the guilt comes from us or from people that don't really love us.
Yeah.
I used to have friends that when I was in my lowest point, really sick, really dizzy, they'll be like, oh, you just don't want to come out because you're just lazy. Oh, you don't want to participate in this because you're just boring now. And I will feel really guilty, and that will hurt my feelings, until eventually I'm like, why am I hearing all this negativity from these kind of people? But the people that truly love me, like my wife and my son, don't tell me those kind of hurtful things. They tell me, Dad, you'll be okay, or my love, everything is gonna be fine. You're a fighter. You're a warrior of God. God has your back. Like positive encouragement. So I realized that the haters will always be there, and I'm sure that, for example, Steve's journey with the bicycle rides, which are an amazing feature. Like no everyone can do that. Not only healthy people can do that, but let alone someone that is suffering from a chronic illness doing that. And I'm sure that Steve has heard, or maybe has gotten comments of people like, well, he must not be that sick if he's able to be on a bicycle riding it. He must be pretending, or he's faking it, or he's looking for pity and attention. Don't listen to that, because you know that even though you're dizzy, you want to quit, and you wanna just, you'd rather be on your couch watching TV than being on a bicycle exposed to the elements out there in the environment. You're doing it because, number one, you're doing it for you and your family. Number two, you're doing it for a whole community out there that believes in you and supports you. So the guilt that we feel is often by these negative voices that are, whether they live inside of our heads or from out, like external people, is mostly us putting it there. So believe in you and hear the voices of the people that truly love you and the people that truly support you.
Yeah, my guilt's definitely self-inflicted. It's self-inflicted, and but I battle that, and I've had, we all went through the same shit, lost friends, or even if they didn't say it, when I say no, I can't go out and have dinner tonight because I'm not feeling up to it, to them, they hear, oh, he's weak and he's just not feeling up to it. I can't tell them that I feel like I'm dying.
Yeah,
They can't wrap their head around that. They just can't wrap their head around the fact that like you said, there's a lot of people out there, and I've always said this, and I say it in my book, I'm not in a competition with other diseases. Who's got it worse? Who's the sickest? Who's in the most pain? All I know is that my life is fucking tough.
Yeah.
That's what I do know. I know that my condition is very, very difficult to live with day in and day out, and for however long that's going to be, till I go meet the good Lord and he can give me my hearing back. I mean, that's what I look forward to. But yeah, it's the guilt. I think it's self-inflicted, and I think a lot of other things are self-inflicted. Shame, inadequacy, self-esteem. I could go on and on and on. But the emotional stuff that this disease does to me is, I think, now worse than the physical. At first, the physical was the worst. I didn't know what was going on.
Yes.
But once I figured out how to manage the physical stuff, where I can live dizzy and I can live nauseous, then that's when the emotional stuff started hitting me even more and more. So then you have to re-grieve that process also.
Yeah, no, 100% right.
What meds are you on, Chappie? You never said.
I take something called flunarizine, which is to decrease the intensity of the migraines, and an antidepressant called nortriptyline, which also, because of the serotonin effect that it has in your brain, it also decreases the intensity of the migraines, and it kind of like minimizes a little bit the stimulation that you get into your vestibular system, like the input that you get. So it allows you to be less dizzy. As Steve mentioned, I'm dizzy every day. I'm dizzy here. I'm dizzy when I'm outside. I'm dizzy when I'm dancing with my wife. I'm dizzy when I'm going for a walk with my dogs. However, I am able to function and I am able to live a more normal life.
And what's really funny is that when you say I'm dizzy, Adrian and I know exactly what you're talking about. But Dave has to try to wrap his head around it and kind of paint a picture to himself what that
Right,
might
to
be
relate
like,
to it, yes.
to relate to it. And Dave's very good at putting himself in my shoes because he's been doing it for years now. But it's funny because when I tell people I live dizzy every day, you know, they just can't, I can't help them understand how freaking horrible it is.
No,
You just can't, I mean, there's no way I can put my head inside their head and be like, this is how I feel.
I want to kick in there because when Chappie was talking about that, that's what I want to ask you, Chappie, is like, can you give it your best shot to describe what's the dizziness like and what does it make you do to, you know, you probably have to compensate somehow. If you're feeling like you're falling over, do you compensate? Is it all in your kind of in your head, or does it make your whole body kind of like you're swimming? And what is it?
That's an awesome question, Dave. And the dizziness evolves, like it changes. It's never a one type of dizziness. It's very trippy. So for somebody that has done drugs in the past, they might understand what the sensation feels like. But for example, at the beginning, I will feel like the whole world was tilted. So I would sit in a chair and I feel like I'm going to the side and I grab to the chair and I'm like, holy shit. And my wife's like, what? I'm like, I'm falling. She's like, you're not, you're sitting straight. And I'm like, no, I'm falling. When I was laying on my bed, it felt like if the bed was absorbing me, like the bed wasn't solid. So it feels like you're sinking into the bed. Other times it feels like you're in a trampoline. Like when you're walking, it feels like you're bouncing up and down. So it's very trippy sensations that unless you're on drugs, you wouldn't be able to truly understand what the hell we're talking about when we say we're dizzy. At times, is the spinning vertigo that Adrian and Steve experienced. That is when you feel whether that you're spinning or that the room is spinning. So that's the most scary one for me, because in that one you completely lose all control of everything. Like you hang on to everything. You try to sit down. You try to lay back because everything is moving rapidly. That one I really don't like that sensation. The one where you feel like you're tilting or sinking into the floor, or the one that you feel like you're floating. Those ones I'm kind of used to them a bit now. So I'm like, if I feel them, that's okay. But when the room starts to spin, like that one throws me off completely.
Yeah, and that's when my eyes start tracking weird, and that makes me even dizzier because I can't control that.
Because you try to focus on something and your eyes keep
and
your
you
eyes
know,
start trailing like you're tripping. That vestibular ocular function. That's
so it's a very different sensation.
Well, thanks for sharing all that, Chappie. Those are a lot of good topics we covered. Adrian's got a game for you, and it's called Say It Sultry. And I don't know if you've heard of this yet, but she's going to explain the rules to you, and you just roll along with it.
Okay.
Okay. So
Say It Sultry is the name of the game.
Yes, we have the game called Say It Sultry Idilio Sensual.
Oh.
Idilio Sensual. So what you're going to do is I'm going to say a saying in English, and then in your most sensual voice, you will repeat the saying in English y Español.
Okay.
Okay, pregunta uno. You are so pretty.
Okay.
Say it sexy. Say it sexy.
I will. So, Steve, look into my eyes. Look into my eyes, Steve, because this is for you.
Okay, here I come.
You are so pretty.
Oh,
and
my
now,
goodness.
And now even better in español. Steve, tú eres muy hermoso.
Oh,
Time for a cold shower. I'll be
Oh
back.
my God.
okay, perfecto. Pregunta dos. My love, come to me.
Yeah, I was gonna throw that one today, but I don't even want to tell him to come to me now. Because I'd rather say it to Adriana, okay?
I can say
My-
this. I can say this for I'm deadly serious and honest, Chappie. I've never thought about you in the shower ever.
Well,
I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I don't mean that not to be a compliment or whatnot, because whatever. I'm sure your wife is perfectly happy with you, and that's fine.
I wish
No,
I could say
no.
the same.
Time to start, Dave. Time to start putting that mental picture in there.
Oh, no.
Okay. It's like, no.
Look in the camera, Dave.
Oh, what? No, it didn't get past to me, did it?
No, it's gonna pass to Adriana. My love,
Oh,
come to me.
Oh, oh.
Mi amor, ven a mí.
Yep, mi amor, ven a mí.
Okay.
Perfecto.
You
Okay.
got one
okay.
more?
Tres. You make me sweat.
Ooh.
oh, I thought you were gonna say you make me sick.
No, that's Steve who makes me sick.
Okay, and you definitely think about that in the shower.
Okay.
Okay. In your
Dave.
most full voice, you make me sweat.
You can talk to
Dave.
me.
When I see you in those tidy whities, you make me sweat. Tú me haces sudar.
Do not trill your R's at me, buddy. Do not.
Oh, you did great. I'll tell you what, out of everybody, he's done the best at to say it sultry.
Come on, I do a good job.
Perfecto. Gracias.
There
All
you
right,
go.
all right, all right.
Okay, Adrian, just for fun, give me a say it sultry so I can say it to Johan. I'll show you how sexy I can be.
Say it in
Oh my
Spanish.
God. This is becoming a totally different kind of podcast real quick.
Johan, this started because my anniversary was a few weeks ago, and I just thought it would be funny. And I surprised the guys and said, okay, I want you to say to me in your most sultry voice. And I gave them 3 sayings to say. Now, of course, Dave would never say them.
He just bagged out,
Not
tapped
happy.
out.
Scared as a whatever.
Oh, come on now.
Well, you didn't. Okay.
Well,
So anyway, but Steve's quite good at it.
Get
okay,
ready.
so
Get ready.
Steve, for you, you're gonna say, baby, you want some of this?
Oh, okay. I can't say it in Spanish though. Baby, you want some of this?
I think he's looking at his dog when he's saying that.
Say.
What, a thermometer up the butt? Is that what I'm asking? Because that's what my dog got this morning. So
Rooster will not be with you in the shower later.
he's over there looking at me still scared. He's just like, stay away from me, Dad.
Don't come any closer.
Don't come any closer. He thinks he sees my pen I'm holding to write my notes, and he's just like, that's a thermometer. I know it. He wants to jam it up my ass.
Well, funny,
Okay.
funny anecdote. I took my dad 2 years ago to he was feeling like COVID symptoms. So I took him to the hospital, and they were doing that nose swab thing that all the way
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
to your brain. So my dad is someone that is very he's nervous about anything that has to do with medical stuff. So he's like, son, please come with me. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I take him there. So the doctor starts showing the Q-tip at my dad's nose, and he starts jumping like a fish out of water. And the doctor is like, I'm not even up there yet. I'm like right here. And my dad is like, please. So they call like 4 doctors to grab my dad's arms, his legs, and he's crying. The doctor is finally trying to shove the Q-tip up there. So he finishes, and the doctor is like, okay. And my dad is like, oh, I'd never do that again. And the doctor is like, okay, turn around because now I gotta check your prostate.
Oh.
This doctor had massive fingers. I don't know what the hell, but he has got giant fingers. And my dad is like, why? Why are you checking my prostate? And the doctor is like, well, I check your COVID, now I gotta check your prostate. So now my dad wants me to never ever go to a doctor's appointment with him. It's like, it was you. It was you who told the doctor to do that. I'm like, I don't have that kind of authority. So, yeah, like,
that kind of authority.
quite the adventure with my dad.
That when you were telling that story about him having such a hard time with just that little thing up his nose, my first thought was I'd hate to see him have to go through a colonoscopy. He'd probably pass out.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't handle it. He wouldn't be able to handle it.
He hasn't had colonoscopy yet?
No, he has not. And
I haven't had one yet.
I'm gonna call his doctor and suggest it.
Don't call my doctor. I don't want any part of that. All right,
That's
Dave.
no fun. Okay.
All right, Dave, you got a game for Chappie, don't you?
Oh yeah.
What is
All
it? Throw it.
All right, we got a couple games here. First, this one can involve all three of you. I'll try to keep score as best I can, maybe.
But, Chappie
But
gets
we're
first.
going to do
Chappie
Oh
gets
Canada, true or false.
Okay.
That's going to be the first game.
Oh, Canada,
you
true
ready?
or false?
Oh Canada, true or false. Statements that are true or false.
You're gonna have
Santa
to tell
Claus's
us-
official ad.
Dave,
Oh.
You're gonna have to tell one of us to answer one at a time because
Okay,
we're gonna trip on each other if you don't.
we're going to do Chappie first, and then we'll give Adrian a shot. Steve will be last.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
I'll try to keep a score. All right. Santa Claus's official address is in Canada. Is that true or false?
False.
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 It is actually true. No points. All
Oh.
right.
What?
No, he
I thought he lived in the North Pole.
The North Pole is considered part of Canada, believe it or not, according
What?
to Santa Claus lore. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Question number 2. Canada has less gravity than anywhere else in the world.
True.
I'm gonna say true.
True.
Sorry,
All
Adrian.
right. Everybody gets a point.
Hey, yeah,
So-
boy.
Around the Hudson Bay area,
Spread to the gods, kapow! Nailed it.
around the Hudson Bay area, a glacier compacted the rock more than any place else on Earth. And so there's less mass, less gravity. All right.
Nice.
Weird fun fact.
Not
Okay.
really.
Number whatever we're on. Cows cannot produce milk in some northernmost Canadian territories. True or false?
True.
True.
False.
Steve gets a point. That is false.
Oh. Wah, 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 wah.
Because I've milked some cows up in northern Canada. I know they
That's
give
right.
milk.
All right. Here's one from your hockey days. Canada produces the most hockey players,
False.
say professionally.
Pass.
What'd you say,
False.
Chappie?
False.
Steve?
False.
No points. That's actually true.
Whoa.
Oh.
Actually, more NHL players come from Ontario in particular than the whole United States.
Wow.
Wow.
There you go.
I thought
Something to
it
be
was
proud of, chaps.
Thought it was a trick question.
Okay. Canada produces more cheese than any other country in the world.
Cheese? No, false.
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 Okay, everybody gets a point. That is false.
They might cut the most cheese up in Canada,
right.
but they don't make the most.
Okay, so here's the deal. Steve wins the game with 3 points. That's great.
Should I stand up for this?
You
Okay.
can.
Oh, Canada, my home and
Native. That's the best. That's the best anthem in the planet for sure.
bullshit.
Okay, I got a
Okay.
quick game for you guys. You gotta make an animal noise, and I'm gonna give you the animal. Let's start. Let's start with Dave.
Okay.
Dave, a horny Canadian moose.
What's the game? I have to make that.
The
No.
noise that this specific animal will make. So you're gonna make the noise of a horny Canadian moose.
Okay, here it goes. You ready?
Go. What the hell was that? That sounded like you're.
Hell was
That was it.
No, but you gotta make it with your mouth. Okay.
All right.
0 point for Dave. Adriana,
it.
you're gonna make the noise of an angry chicken?
I'm thinking of a rooster.
That is a chicken. Make it
That is
angry,
a chicken.
Adrian.
Okay, it counts. Go for it.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds like a Steve's dog, and then you had the vet.
Oh.
All right, everyone, I got sold. How much my commission do you want to pay? How about your commission?
Now, Steve.
All right, give me mine.
Oh my goodness.
Steve, you're gonna make the noise of an in-love pig.
An in-love pig?
Yes.
Oink, oink, oink.
Oh my goodness.
You win.
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
You win.
oink, oink. I love
You
you,
win.
oink.
Okay. Okay, you crazies. Okay, one more game. This is for champion specific. Are you
Go.
ready, chap? This is speed round. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Okay, well, I'm
Let me
gonna
put-
give
let me put my
you.
horse in a speed mode.
Yeah, there you go. Give me name and form. Get a name and form.
I'm gonna give you. Let's say 20 names of famous people. You're gonna tell me if they're Canadian or not, as in
Go.
born and somewhat raised. Okay. This is for Canada, buddy. So, you know, you got some Canada pride going. Your whole country is counting on you because they're all going to listen to this later.
Shit.
Are you
All
ready?
three of them. All
Got to
three
say
of
if they're
them.
Canadian or not. Winona Ryder.
Yes, Canadian.
She is not. Tom Hanks.
No. Who's next?
Tom Hanks.
No.
Okay, you got that. He is not. Jonah Hill.
Yes.
He is not. Okay,
Stop,
Sacagawea.
stop.
Who's that? No.
That's not an
Sacco-
acceptable answer.
Sacco what? What do you call me? Sacco who?
A sack of shit.
Sacagawea. Okay, she was an Indian. Well, you can't say she was a Native American. Okay. Okay, no
Okay.
points. Michael J. Fox.
No.
Oh,
Oh, Steve's gonna kick your butt. Michael J. Fox, definitely Canadian.
that was
Celine
a
Dion.
softball. That was a
Yes.
softball.
Good. Celine Dion, you got a point. Gordon Lightfoot.
No.
He is. No points. Seth Rogen.
Yes.
Good. Okay, he is. Tecumseh.
I don't know who that is, but yes.
Well, you don't know your Native Americans, but you do know that Tecumseh is Canadian. Good job. All
There
right.
you go.
Charlize Theron.
Ooh.
I think she is not.
Oink, oink, oink.
Good call. She is South African. All right. William Shatner.
Yes.
True. He is Canadian. Jim Carrey.
Yes.
I'm throwing you softballs now. This isn't even fun. Lewis and Clark.
Lewis and Clark. No.
Good. They're not.
Throw me Ryan Reynolds.
Nicholas
Right.
Cage.
Ryan Reynolds.
Nicholas Cage.
Nicolas
Got a
Cage.
few more.
Definitely not.
Good call. Theodore Roosevelt.
No.
Good call, because a president of the United States cannot be born somewhere else other than America. How about Ellen
Oh.
DeGeneres?
No.
Good call. She's, I think, from New Orleans, but don't quote me on that. How about Neil Young?
Sure.
You're right, but I could tell you were guessing with the eye roll. All right, last one. Everybody gets to chime in on this one. All right, Alexander Graham Bell.
No.
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 You guys are all wrong. He is Canadian.
Oh.
All right.
Good game,
Good
Dave.
job, chaps.
How many
I'll
to get
count up
right?
your total. Out of 20, you got 12 out of 20. I think that's pretty
Nice.
respectable.
That's
You got
pretty
more than
good.
half.
No bad. No bad.
Yeah,
Right.
you deserve O Canada. Somebody will
Bueno,
sing that for
bueno.
you.
Chappie, before we wrap up, where can people find you on social media? Give us a whole rundown so anybody that watches this that wants to check out your shows can.
All right. So everybody can find me in YouTube. The channel is called Find Your CHAPPINESS. The specific show about vestibular talks is called Vestibular Talks. And you can also find me on Instagram at Find Your CHAPPINESS.
Okay. And if you
Um,
want to, go ahead,
oh,
Adrian.
And you can find me in Steve's mind in the shower time. So yes.
And everyone's welcome to that party.
Well, I'm gonna stay away from that party and just let y'all have your bromance. However, Chappie, I will email you, and just so that I can mail you this picture because I really want you to have it. And
Please.
that way you can at least, picture Steve
Oh my.
whenever you need to.
All right, for listeners at home, that is a picture of me, Adrian, and Steve at our golf fundraiser in April by the Find the CHAPPINESS golf hole sponsor sign. Thank you very much for that, chaps.
I really enjoyed this. I'm going to say this is one of the best shows ever.
On podcasts ever.
Yeah,
Ever.
history of
Can't
podcasting,
wait.
except for all of CHAPPINESS's shows for Find Your CHAPPINESS, of course.
I meant for our show.
Okay,
And
Adrian,
I
okay.
so enjoyed this, and I hope Steve will consider having you back. So I know.
We had
We'll talk about it.
We had
You guys have more than a friend here in me in Canada, so you're welcome to come visit anytime. And I do hope we do the edition of Canadian on the Vertigo for the bicycle ride, whether it is to like Western Canada or Eastern Canada. I hope that happens sometime in the future.
We will try to make that happen. And we want to thank everybody out there for listening this long. And we love you. And we're going to leave with a little Shakira. And we're going to dance ourselves out of here. So give it up for Shakira. Thank you, Chappie. I love you, my brother.
The Dukes, goodbye.
The dog is dancing. Daisy Duke's Barbie is dancing in Adrian's hands, and Steve's
Oink,
just
oink,
dancing
oink.
with his dog. Peace out, everybody.
Peace
care,
out,
guys.
everybody.
On your CHAPPINESS.
Your Chappiness.